Okay, today I want to take a look at Zorin OS Lite. This is version 12.1, I believe. It's the latest one that came out. But it's the light version of an OS that tries to emulate Windows to make it as comfortable as possible for people coming from Windows to transfer over to the Linux desktop. So, like Windows, it has your taskbar on the bottom with your menu on the left, which looks familiar to the Windows 7 menu. Have your system tray with a clock on the right. To get around it, let's see what's a good way to start. These are your menu categories. Click on accessories and it brings that up. Get back to your other categories here. It comes with Wine, which is a Windows, not necessarily an emulation, but it's sort of a tries to translate Windows programs. Yeah, I guess emulator is probably the closest I can come to it, although I know it's not technically an emulator. But if you download, like I'll start here, I downloaded a little game for Windows, and I can just double click on the installer that I downloaded, and Wine starts up the installer. So a lot of the not all Windows applications work, of course, but a lot of the more simpler ones do. So now if I go here and go to Wine, there's my Mario Forever that I downloaded, and it starts up. So there you go. A lot of your Windows programs should work directly with it. Even puts a little icon on the desktop for you. Software. Before I get to that, we'll go to the settings. I'll go through the settings. This is, excuse me, this is basically an XFCE desktop environment, but it's customized to make it look as much as possible like Windows. Your settings is like your control panel on Windows. You have your different categories of things that you can configure here. You can go to Zorin Appearance, and you can have either your icons look like the Windows 7 icons or the more traditional taskbar look here. We'll leave it like this. And you have different themes you can try out. But I'll leave everything as stock for now. You can play with it later if you want. Additional drivers, if you have proprietary drivers that you can install, click on there. It'll search your system to see if there's any. Like mine here could use the Intel microcode, but I'll just leave it as stock. Everything's working fine. It might work a little bit better with the proprietary driver, but it might not. Different partition managers, session and startup if you want applications start up automatically when you log in. Software updater, Windows wireless drivers. If you have a wireless card that you need a Windows driver for, you can click there to try to get it. Yeah, firewall. I would recommend that you turn this on. It doesn't come on by default, but see, I turned mine on earlier. But yeah, all you do is you just click here to turn it on and just leave it like that. Allow outgoing connections, and it'll deny the incoming connections. It's a good simple little firewall. Okay, we'll go through software. This is a software center. I think it's the GNOME Software Center. But it gives you access to snap packages as well. But for the snap packages to work, this takes a little while to load up here. I'll give it a bit of time. For the snap packages to work, you need to open an account with the Ubuntu. I'm not sure if it's a Snap Store or what you would call it, but I know I tried to get the simple screen recorder, and that comes only as a snap package. And if I click on it, the Ubuntu One, I need an Ubuntu One account. So you can you'll have to sign up with them. But a lot of the applications don't use the snap packages. There we go. And you have your different categories. These are the editor's picks, recommended, and then your different categories: audio, graphics, system, utilities, etc., etc. So you can take a look through there and see what's available, weather, whatnot. So it's a fairly decent selection of software. You can also, I'm sure, download the Synaptic Package Manager, since this is an Ubuntu-based distribution. The installer is the typical Ubuntu Ubiquity installer, which I'm not really too fond of because it does seem to hang, or not really hang, but it takes a while to get through it. So this was a quick look at Zorin OS. It's a nice beginner's distribution. This is Zorin OS Lite. The full version, I think, is based on GNOME, and you need a slightly more powerful desktop to be able to run it with more RAM. It's more. This is more of a light version if your computer is a little bit older, Core 2 Duo or something like that. This would probably be a lot smoother operating than the full version. The only real difference, they both try to look like Windows. They both try to make it comfortable for a beginner. This is just lighter on resources. So that'll be all for today. Hope you like this little overview, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.